Let's welcome in Rupen Rajguru, who's now with us. He's Head of Equity, Investments and Strategy at Julius Baer. Rupen, good to have you with us here. Thanks for your time. I just wanted your thoughts first up on autos, Rupen. The backdrop, of course, is the very strong performance that we saw over the last 2 years for the auto sector, both the OEMs and auto anchors as well. But lately, we've seen some price corrections as well, sharp in some cases. From the two-wheelers, Hero, of course, has received the big casualty. In four-wheelers, Maruti has come off quite sharply. What's your sense? Do you think even if there is some slowdown, and we'll get numbers for October soon, it's in the price?
Hi, good afternoon, Prashant, and season's greeting to you, everyone in the CNBC family, and to all your viewers. So, auto as a sector, if you look through, barring last 1 month or two, it has had a phenomenal bull run. From a stock market perspective, last 2 years, auto as a sector has done phenomenally well. And we have seen that coming through cycles. It initially started with the passenger vehicles, then the two-wheelers. And earlier, if you recollect, post-COVID, there were a lot of issues around chips, higher prices of raw material, demand, higher oil price. All of those got self-corrected. And then we saw 8 quarters of record margin expansion across the board. And the stocks got massively re-rated. As we speak now, what's happening is that in some of the segments, be it two-wheelers, the competitive intensity has gone up. There is competition from the EV side. In four-wheelers, clearly we are seeing some bit of slowdown in the discretionary spending. Already the entry vehicles are struggling while the higher-end SUVs are doing well. And we are seeing all the companies announcing discounts. So the point here is that what we believe from a stock market perspective, auto as a sector definitely now will take a pause. And we have been mentioning that in my earlier last month's conversation as well. So it has to, now the earnings catch up has to happen. A little bit of valuation readjustment has to happen. And we saw the biggest IPO as well, in the one of the auto company which came out both on the two-wheeler as well as on the four-wheeler side. So net, to Prashant, to answer your question, auto as a sector, we believe will take a pause. There can be some tactical opportunity, but right now, for the next 3 to 4 quarters, probably it might be a market underperform.
All right. Hi, Rupen. Good afternoon and good to see you, Ben. Rupen, what about consumption basket? So far, urban India has been doing well and everyone has been playing those themes. Now it appears, that there could be a lot of focus on rural India. And that's why the trends in consumption may change. How are you playing that theme?
Yeah, hi, afternoon, Nigel. I think you said it right. See, if any themes, any structural theme will have some bit of cyclicality involved. So in consumption, the common thread across all the commentary, especially if I were to first talk about staples, has been for this quarter is that rural is seeing green shoots, some better traction there, and urban is struggling. And I think one of the key reason would be that because of higher inflation, some of the population, urban population, probably would have gone into down trading. So some of the local brands are giving now a big competition to the branded players. So that is what we are witnessing. So currently, as a theme, as a strategic level, we are positive on high-end consumption. But tactically, right now, some of the low-value consumer discretionary item we believe will do well. One of the key reasons for that being, the rural economy is seeing a comeback. Government spending has gone up significantly. If you look through this, on an average, the total this year state governments are spending almost 2 lakh worth of amount across various welfare schemes. You might call it freebies, but I would call it more of welfare schemes. I think some of the welfare schemes are targeting females. As per a recent survey, almost 17% of the entire female population are covered by this welfare scheme targeted for females or women. So here we will see some bit of money coming there, and that will take in some of the discretionary spending on the low ticket side. So that will see a comeback. So overall, Nigel, consumption in the near term, the low ticket consumer discretionary items will do better than some of the higher end consumer items. So that is our call.
Okay, so that's the call on consumption. Rupen, hi and happy Diwali to you. What about financials? How are you playing this part of it? Because the trends are extremely mixed now. So give us some more color on, lenders, non-lenders, within lenders, large banks, small banks, NBFCs. How are you playing financials?
So Surbhi, hi, afternoon. Post-COVID, once for almost 3 years, and I think thanks to also RBI intervention, what we saw, there was a massive re-rating of the public sector financials, public sector enterprises, especially the public sector banks. Why? Because the credit cost across had gone down significantly. So in an era wherein because of lower credit costs, profitability was pretty strong, the ROE improved. So there was a massive valuation re-rating happened. And there was no distinction between, say, well-managed, historically well-managed private sector bank vis-a-vis some of the other banks, as well as some of the other public sector enterprise, because the credit cost had gone down. In fact, starting this quarter, we are seeing, some bit of distinction, so to say, from a market perspective, because finally in this quarter we saw, slippages specifically on the MFI side, on the unsecured lending book has spiked significantly, and now I would say the bank which really has good underwriting skill will see that distinction. So while some of the amongst the top 4 private sector bank, barring the number 2, all have got massively derated. So our call is, these are the other 3 banks on the top 4 private sector banks will see some bit of re-rating because they have a much better underwriting skills, and market will start distinguishing that. Amongst the others on the non-NBFCs. Here again, the largest NBFC had got derated because the same reason which I explained earlier was also applicable to them. Now we are seeing as probably the growth is pretty strong and the asset quality is also under control. So some of those quality players will see a comeback, and I think that is our call on financials.
I mean, absolutely, and I think. For names like Bajaj Finance, etc., out of the NBFC space at least, what they say, with the old saying, right? First in, early out from any sort of credit cycle, early to recognize, but also kind of early to come out of that cycle. So we'll see. Of course, I mean the stock's not done anything now for the last, I think, a few years. The Bajaj Finance stock that is. Any other single stock ideas, Rupen? Anything you would want to share with us? I know you guys work on a lot of bottom-up ideas. So you want to share any names with us? With, of course, full disclaimer. Stuff which is looking interesting.
So Prashant, from compliance reasons, I won't be able to share individual names. But as you know, now we have to understand that hopefully, the market was in a one-way bull run, and a lot of narrative stocks had seen a phenomenal run up, right? So now I would say the distinction between the actual narratives as well as execution will come into play. So I would say there are, to answer your question, Prashant, there are bottom-up ideas across the sector, right? Like we mentioned, within bank, there are bottom-up ideas, or I would say, one theme probably which we like would be in a environment in which we are, some of the mean reversion plays across the sectors will do well. So be it stocks from the pharma space, or be it stocks from we spoke about autos, but some of the chemical names. So all of those which probably had a good run, have been consolidating for last 2-3 years. Probably now we'll see a traction coming back, once the top line comes through. So there are bottom-up ideas across the sector, I would say.
Okay, we'll leave it there, Rupen. Thank you very much. Festive greetings to you and your team. Appreciate your time here on CNBC TV 18. Well, 125 points lower.